Well, Benson, first things first, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I just woke up a couple minutes ago, so feeling good, but I'm here in Los Angeles. Um, yeah, ready for the week. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad at all. Yeah, just working. Um, Before we get into the music and get into the Pulse EP and everything that's kind of going on right now, I'd like to jump back a little bit to the beginning because I find kind of your origin story quite fascinating. Um, Before you were asked to do that talent show, what role did music play?
Um, Honestly, like I just would kind of listen to it when like when I was going out and doing activities like cliff jumping or when I was playing sports
Sure.
or things like that. So it wasn't like this passion of mine really until I did that talent show, and it wasn't like I did the talent show and then everything's just music, but it started developing after that talent show.
Do you remember what song you sang?
Yeah, I sang "The Good Parts" by Andy Grammer, and then Havana and Royals,
Hmm.
and then I think "Shallow" by Lady Gaga.
Okay, because what I find interesting about this, how you fell into music in this way, like you have to be able to carry a tune to be able to do that. So when did you figure out that you were able to carry a tune?
That is a good question. I think I literally think it was the day um of that Battle of the Bands competition.
Okay.
I never really music is definitely something like that it changes a lot if you put everything into it. And there wasn't really a time that I had done that yet. And so up until the competition, I had just kind of, you know, like gave it half effort or not full effort. And I really went for it in this Battle of the Bands. And I think it
Okay.
just like my voice and the potential that I had. And that's when I knew I could, carry a tune.
And as you then start building on your craft, you start, yeah, becoming a better singer, thinking about writing songs. I don't know when that exactly came in, but how do you see that development? Like you said, initially it wasn't something you did 100%. You didn't go all out, and then slowly it turns into this huge passion of yours. Can you take me through that development? What changed over time?
Yeah, I think so. The only thing I ever did growing up that was like sitting still or artistic was drawing. I was a big artist growing up, and so like I never really did anything. I don't know, anything therapeutic,
Mm.
and I was very active. I was a very active kid, so like when I found out I could sing, it was nice to have something to do where like I get all my energy out and I'm doing all these sports and all the, cliff jumping and rock climbing. And then I come back and it's like I can sit at the piano for so long and just think and sing and play and experiment. And so I really think like it was a very quick development where once I
Mm.
found out I was like decent at it. I wanted to do it more and I wanted to get better. And so I would spend all the time that I wasn't out doing things just singing.
One thing I hear oftentimes from artists is, especially once they start performing live, it becomes very addictive because there's that connection you get to have with the fans and people singing your words back to you and all that kind of stuff. So for you, you started kind of in a weird time, I suppose, for music. So once you were allowed to make that connection with people in real time and seeing, looking them in the eyes, what was that like? That transition from being a bedroom artist in a way to becoming more of an actual artist?
It was a big transition, and again, this one happened really quick too. I didn't do
Okay.
my performance like in front of one until last year, and my first concert was in Sweden in front of 15,000 people, and it was like so crazy. I mean that was a very big jump going from the Battle of the Bands to an arena. But I do think it's true where like before that, obviously I still loved music, but like I didn't feel as passionate about it. And I felt like as I was teasing my music and you know, writing my songs, I was like, you know, I thought it was going to be a little more than this. And then I did the show and I was like, holy damn. Now I understand. Now I understand. And it does make a really big difference doing live shows. Like when you hear, you know, thousands of people cheering for you and chanting your name and singing your lyrics, it's like it elevates your whole entire being like times 100, and you're just on top of the world. And it is a crazy feeling. It is a crazy feeling. And no adrenaline rush that I've ever had is like it. And so it's very special being on stage, and not very many people get to do it. So I feel very fortunate to be able to be there. But I want to keep being on stage and performing and doing bigger and bigger shows.
You mentioned how quickly those developments went. Could you, in any way, prepare for what would happen, or how it took off, or how do you keep your feet on the ground with everything going on around you?
At first, oh gosh, I couldn't even process what was happening. It was like the first song I released was one of my biggest songs, my second biggest song, and it was just like I was just like so confused at how it was happening, but I wasn't mad about it. I was like, this is
Sure.
incredible. And it was like blowing up on TikTok, and it was on TikTok everywhere. And then I was in Europe for the first time, and I did a show for the first time. And it was so much so quick that I like, honestly, after a couple of months, it was like a little overwhelming. And I had to like step back and, you know, take it in for a second. But just, I'm not really one to get super stressed. I feel like very like my stress levels are always doing good. And so like, yeah, if there's kind of no preparing for going on stage for the first time in front of, you know, 15,000 people. But like, for me, it was less like nervous and more excitement. So
Sure.
I still kind of feel that way where like, I'm just ready to take it on.
Oh, that's great to hear. Talking about the creative aspect, and you mentioned the word therapeutic earlier. Once you started putting thoughts kind of into these songs and onto paper, especially with the second EP, Pulse, do you need to live life in order to write?
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yes, I think living your life is one of the most important things you can do in songwriting, because you cannot write a song if you have time to do the things you want. And there was a period for me not too long ago where I was doing so much work, so much writing, so much traveling and interviews, and like so many things all the time that I wasn't living. And I was so upset and like just not in a good headspace. And, you know, I was like, crying more than I've ever cried before.
Yeah.
Like I'm not much of a crier, and it was happening like multiple times a week, and I was like, what is happening? And I just stopped, and I told people that I need a break and that I need to just live. And then I set aside 2 weeks, and I got some of my friends, and we went to Hawaii for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And we did film a music video there, but like the rest of the time, we were literally just doing what we do, cliff jumping and surfing, mopeds. It was just like the funnest time. And after that, I was fully reset. And it was like, I felt so good. And my songs have been so good since then. It's just like, there is a fine line where, like, if you don't live your life, I mean, your songs aren't going to be as emotional and as meaningful, because you're living in this cooped up, cage, and it just doesn't, it's not healthy from there. And so when you can really experience like life and emotion and loss and heartbreak and love and a good relationship, like those things will bring the best inspiration for the best songs.
Yeah, and I've read about you as an artist. You find authenticity is very important to you, and you mentioned a couple of those things like heartbreak, and there is some of that on Pulse. So, writing a song like "What Was," how does that just fall out, or is it kind of do you sit down 9 to 5 and then hammer at it?
So all the songs that I do with Jack LaFrance and Jason Sweet, which is who I did What Was with, I don't even understand how we get a song out of those sessions, because I go in the studio with them, and they're just so funny that we're like, we joke around like 90% of the time, and then we'll like kind of just fiddle around with a guitar or a piano. And with What Was, that day, Jason started playing that guitar line that starts the verse off, and I just told him to keep doing that. And then I always get out like my voice memos, and I recorded. I just sang the verse, like I sang the verse melody, and then I'm like, you know what? I think we should do like a big drop in this song, and then I sung the melody for the chorus, and they were like, I don't know. And we were kind of like unsure about it at first. And then, we went off on our tangent and started joking around again. And then we came back to it. And then Jason works so fast. He produces so fast. So he just threw in the guitar and then tried like the for the chorus. And it was like the coolest thing. We were so excited. And then from there, I mean, we like pumped it out in like 2 hours, and just, I love working that way and with them, where it's not like we're sitting there forced to write a song or forced to finish the song super fast. We just order burritos, laugh and joke around, and whatever comes out of it comes out of it. And it's like always a good song, which is so cool to me. But I love What Was. It's such a different vibe.
No, because the reason I ask is I like kind of you can feel the emotion in What Was. I think in A Little Runaway you can feel it. It's a song for your sister or about your sister. Is it difficult to put those words down, or because you mentioned kind of the atmosphere in which you write them, very relaxed, very friendly, so is it kind of like really open in terms of what you discuss and how these songs get made from a lyrical standpoint as well?
Yeah, I've been working with them for so long. I'm very, very open, and I'm not scared to tell them anything about how I'm feeling. And so, like, usually what will happen is we'll find a melody that I like, or I'll come with an idea that I like, and I'll talk through a topic with them, and they'll kind of help me navigate what I'm feeling and what the song should be about. And for what was, it was about just a relationship that I had recently that ended, and I used, like, I was talking through them or through that with them, and they're like, well, let's write about that. Let's break that down. And that's kind of how it goes. But it is very natural for me to write very emotional songs, because
Okay.
I think I've always been like a writer, not a music writer, but like English was my best subject in
Okay.
school. I was always good at writing essays. And so I think naturally, one, I am a very emotional guy. And two, I'm good at, reflecting on my emotions. And so it makes my songs very deep and meaningful.
Mm. And what is it like then? Because I saw a clip on TikTok of you here in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, singing "What Was," and everybody kind of screaming the words back at you. I mean, is that then the kind of the payoff, the ultimate payoff for the whole process?
I think so. Yeah. Touring is so fun, especially that Amsterdam show. Gosh, it was crazy. Everyone was like just so loud and screaming the whole time, and I loved it. But yeah, it is one of the coolest feelings to have put a lot of work into these songs, because obviously, those the first day of a session is never the only day you take in a song.
Sure.
Find one of those that you like, it takes weeks and weeks and weeks of work and perfecting it, and like it's a lot of personal feelings, and it's like a painting for me. It's my painting, it's my art. And when people appreciate it and a whole crowd of people sings those lyrics back to me, it's like you're at an art gallery and everyone is commenting on how good your painting is. It feels so good to you. And man, it just is very special to be on stage with a crowd that, is feeling the music.
Yeah, because I've always felt any kind of art comes with a lot of doubt for the maker, I suppose, because along the way you don't really know whether it's gonna land or what people might think. So the fact that you then have that form of confirmation in a way is great.
Yeah.
Last question then. Now you've released Pulse now, second EP. Can I assume a full LP or full album is on the horizon?
I think that would be a good assumption. Yeah, I think this year there's going to be a lot more music for me, and a full album is definitely in the works and being touched up right now. So you can expect that later on in the year.
Well, that's an interesting thought, because we do live in an era, the digital age, with Spotify's playlists and all the things. I mean, you've done very well on TikTok. Does an album mean a lot to you, like to create this cohesive whole, or are you just as fine releasing EPs or even singles?
An album is a really big deal for me,
Okay.
and it's kind of like a first concert where, like, I don't really know how it's going to go. I don't really know what's going to happen, but I have a compilation of, multiple songs that I am very proud of, that I have worked really hard on, and I'm ready to share with people. And, albums are definitely not as common these days. And with TikTok and everything, it's a crazy world, but I'm going to go for it. And all I can hope is that, people enjoy the music, and that's all I can do. So I think I am nervous. Yeah, for sure. But I'm also very ready for it.
I think those are great words to end on. So Benson, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you so much, Robin. It's very nice to meet you.